And here we have a line segment with 3 points on it. So the whole thing, GJ is 27 and GH is 18. So we're going to try to find HJ right here. And so we got our little formula, GJ equals GH plus HJ. So when you manipulate it and put all the numbers in, you get 27 minus 18, which equals 9. So HJ equals 9. Okay, pretty simple. And then we're going to do distance formula and midpoint formula. So right here we have our points. And so we're just going to plug it into the distance formula, which is right here. And after we plug all of that in, we get 8, and then once we factor it out, we get 2.8 units. And then for the midpoint formula, we have this formula right here, and then we just plug these coordinates in, and then we get 2, 3. Reasoning and proof. So we're just going to take a factual statement: the black bears live in North America, and we're going to put it in if, then, converse, inverse, and contrapositive. So if a black bear is black, then it lives in North America. For the converse, if a bear lives in North America, then it is black. If a bear is not black, it's not a black bear, then it does not live in America. And for contrapositive, if a bear does not live in North America, then it is not a black bear. For chapter 3, we have parallel and perpendicular lines. So we have a pair of parallel lines right here, and then we have a perpendicular line cutting through it. So we have these two angles right here that are consecutive interior angles. So we use them for that to put into a formula. So we set them to add them up to equal 180. So when we go to solve it out, we have to put 50 is equal to 6 because the line goes straight through it and it cuts it off. So these are equal to each other. So when we solve it out for the algebra, we do minus 50 from both sides. We get 130. When you bring that down, you plus 5 here. And then we end up having 135. So that's our x right here. For chapter 4, we have congruent triangles. So we have a triangle here, and we're going to try to solve for x. So we're going to use the exterior angles theorem to write and solve for the equation. And so we're going to set the exterior equal to the interior. So we're going to have 2x minus 20 equals x plus 6. So we're going to combine like terms and solve. So we're going to have x minus x over here. So we're going to have x. And we're going to add 20, which cancels out. We'll add 20 over to 60, sorry. And then we're going to get 80. So x equals 80. Alright, so we have chapter 5, relationships with triangles. So we have a triangle right here, and we have a perpendicular bisector going through it. And we're going to trying to find xz, which is this little line right here. So we're going to set these two sides right here equal to each other because they're congruent. And so now we're just going to combine like terms and solve for x right here. 2x plus 5 equals 8. Divide by 2, x equals 4. So when we plug that back into here, equals 20 minus 5. So our little side xz right here equals 15. So we have chapter 6 right here. It's a similarity. So we're going to have to prove that these triangles are similar. So we're going to take these two similar sides right here. So we got ZW and YZ. So those two are similar in the triangle. So we're going to do 14 over 21. And we're going to simplify that. So we get 2 over 3. And so we're going to do these other two sides. And so we get 20 over 3, or 30, which equals 2 over 3. So since we got the same fraction right here, that shows that these two triangles are similar. So we have chapter 7, which is right angles and trig. So we're going to try to find x from this right triangle. So the labeled angle we have is 37. So we're going to go, the sides that we do have is the opposite over adjacent. So the easiest thing to use is tangent. So we plug that in. So we have tangent 37 equals x over 8. So when we solve out, we have 8 times tangent 37, and that equals x equals 6. And you need to plug this all into your calculator to do this. And so when we go down here to try to find a over here, we're going to use sine so we're just going to plug it in. So we're going to have sine a equals 15 over 17. So when we reduce this fraction, we're going to get roughly 0.88224. So we have chapter 8, and that is quadrilaterals. So right here we're going to try and find x. So we have the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are always, or most of the time, congruent. So we're going to have 15 equals x minus 9, and we're going to add 9 to cancel that out. So we get x equals 24. Flip this little triangle over. So here are the coordinates for the ones that the original. So we're just going to flip it around. So we're going to have -1, 1, -3, 4, yeah, and then -5, 1. So that's your new triangle. So you're just flipping it over the y-axis. And is properties of circles. So we're going to try to find x right here. So we're basically going to set this line, this segment right here, to equal this one. So that's by the segments of chords theorem. So we're going to have 2x equals 3 times 6. So when you get that, you have 2x equals 18, divide by 2, x equals 9. We have chapter 11, measuring length. So we're going to try to find the radius with our angle measure and our arc length here. So we're going to put our arc length, which is 6.54 over 2 pi r for radius. And then we're going to put our angle measure, 75 over 360 for the whole complete circle. So after we cross multiply all of this, we get 6.54 times 75 equals 2 pi r times 360. And once we multiply all that out, the radius equals somewhere around 5 feet. So that's how you find the radius with your arc length. Chapter 12 is surface area and volume of solids. We're going to find the surface area of the cylinder, and the surface area formula for the cylinder is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. When you plug that in, you get 2 pi 16 squared radius right here, and then you get 2 pi 16 and 25 height radius, and you get 1312 pi, and when you multiply that, you get 4,121.77 inches squared. And now we're going to find the volume of this triangular prism, and the formula for that is V equals big B times H, and big B is area of the base, so this little side right here, and the area is 1/2 base times height. So you have 6 times 8 over 2, so that's 48 divided by 2 equals 24. So that's your big B, and then for the H is 5. So you just times those together and you get 120 inches cubed.